military officials on the rebel side have been calling for it for some time. They've been talking about a no-fly zone being policed maybe by the Arab states. On occasion, they've even talked about possibly wanting to call in limited airstrikes on specific positions for specific reasons. The one place where the rebels are extremely vulnerable is from the air, which is why a day like today, with heavy cloud cover, a lot of wind, this is a good day for the rebels. But the last couple of days, clear skies, bright sun, good visibility, as a result of which we have seen airstrikes against the rebels. They don't have aircraft. Even if they were to have aircraft, there's little chance that they'd know how to fly it when we bear in mind how ill-trained they are even at operating guns and anti-aircraft guns. But it is the sky that is their big weak point, their Achilles heel, if you like. So anything which would provide them with air cover would help their efforts as they try to push west.
Jackie, thanks very much for that. Jackie Rowland in Ajdabia there. Okay, let's speak to Taris Youssef. He himself is from the eastern Libyan city Benghazi. He's also Dean of the Dubai School in Government and joins us again in the studio. First of all, this offer of this deal, it seems amazing to me, and I dare say to a lot of people, that a man who said he would fight to the last drop of blood and would never leave Libya, he would die in Libya, is now sending envoys, apparently, scurrying around to get this deal where he can leave with dignity. What do you make of that?
Those who have been following Gaddafi for 42 years would tell you this is a classic Gaddafi move. Maneuver designed to create perhaps confusion, shake off the opponent, sense of examine if there are any divisions within the ranks of the National Libyan Council. He will never come out and say it, and even the envoys have not been identified. And the contours of the offer seem to change by the minute. I think this is part of the strategy the regime is...
So not necessarily an olive branch. This is a strategy to find out what he's up against and what they might accept.
Absolutely. What he could get away with. Perhaps trying to create divisions amongst the ranks of the Libyan National Council and the city of Benghazi, not all of whom possibly could stomach the details of the deal that was announced just a short while ago. Until he comes out and clearly announces his intentions to negotiate on the terms that the Libyan National Council has set forth, and they appear to be reasonable and consistent with the demands of the international community, I think Libyans, and especially the Libyan National Council, would be extremely suspicious of the motives, of the timing, and they should be aware of the confusion this could create, especially when on the battlefield they continue to be pounded by heavy mortars, artillery that fire, and today airplanes.
We were talking to one rebel fighter in Ras Lanuf who said Gaddafi knows he's playing on injury time because the international machinery is moving ever closer to a no-fly zone. And we saw late last night the foreign ministers of Gulf Arab states coming out and saying for the first time that they would approve a no-fly zone. They wanted to see a no-fly zone, and that's a change of position.
Very, very remarkable and quite impressive as a stance coming from the Gulf Cooperation Council. On the heels of what emerged from the Arab League and the African Union, there seems to be a consensus right now that a no-fly zone is politically feasible and possibly logistically achievable in the next few days. Whether that would make a difference on the ground or not remains to be seen, partly driven by the details of what would be inside the no-fly zone components. Does it cover helicopter gunships or just typical fixed-wing aircraft? That is not clear yet, but again, it puts pressure. It keeps Gaddafi in a corner, and it keeps him unsettled, and it may hasten him coming out possibly and making the deal that we talked about just a little while ago much more explicit and publicly known.
Tarek, for the moment, thanks very much indeed for that. Tarek Youssef there. Okay, let's get some other news now. Around 2,000 inmates at a prison in the Yemen capital are rioting after taking dozens of guards hostage. They've joined opposition groups across the country who are demanding the removal of President Ali Abdullah Saleh. Riot police fired warning shots and used batons to try to disperse prisoners in Sanaa's central jail when the protests began on Monday. Our correspondent Hashim Halbra joins us now live from Sanaa. Hashim, this sounds like a major riot situation. What's happening now?
Absolutely, Shuli, and it doesn't seem to be contained yet. It started yesterday when inmates started chanting anti-government slogans, complaining about the very bad living situation inside the jail. And then it degenerated into political grievances, asking President Ali Abdullah Saleh to stand down. They were confronted by security forces which started firing tear gas canisters, and there were also gunshots heard in the vicinity of the prison. We've been told that dozens are injured, some of them suffering from bullet injuries, and that the situation is still tense. The whole area is now being sealed off by the security forces, more military vehicles around the whole area. Nobody can get inside that district. And we've been told that NGOs and civilian committees have been asking for a permit to get into the jail to try to assess the situation, but a permit which is likely not to be granted given the very tense situation in the prison.
And Hashim, I mean, this is one more thing for the embattled president to deal with. He has called for national dialogue. Apparently he's been meeting with the country's top political and security chiefs. What reaction has that offer had?
It was immediately rejected by the opposition, saying this is just an attempt by President Saleh to buy time, and that if he is genuine about change, he has to accept the proposal that has been floated by the opposition about a week ago for him to step aside within 7 months from here, for the Yemenis to start a fresh new start in 2012 without President Ali Abdullah Saleh. The anti-government protests are gaining more momentum here in the capital, central parts of Yemen, Taiz, Eb, Damar, and also the southern provinces, particularly Abyan, Al-Dhala, Shabwa, and Aden. The situation is extremely delicate for Ali Abdullah Saleh, who still is playing his last cards. He is saying that he is the ultimate constitutional legitimacy in Yemen, that the tribes, that some of the clerics are for Ali Abdullah Saleh to continue as president until 2013, but the opposition and the protesters that we meet on a daily basis are telling us that Ali Abdullah Saleh is not willing to understand that this chapter is about changing the Arab world, and therefore he has to cow to the demands of people and leave power.
OK, Hashim, thanks very much indeed for that. Hashim Albra in Sana'a there. Now, a criminal court in Egypt has upheld a travel ban on ousted President Hosni Mubarak. The decision prevents Mubarak and his family from leaving Egypt. Their financial assets and property in Egypt have also been frozen. Police in Pakistan arrested a man over a bomb blast that's killed at least 25 people. The explosion in the eastern city of Faisalabad happened at a gas station in a neighbourhood full of government buildings. About 100 people were injured. Officials say the man may also have been involved in a 2009 attack on a Sri Lankan cricket team. Kamal Haider has more from Islamabad.
A deadly attack at a gas station, this time, of course, with new tactics. The explosive-laden vehicle was parked in